Hi, it's Barrett from the All About Nothing podcast. This holiday season, make your celebrations unforgettable with ZJZ Designs. From festive Christmas prints to cheerful holiday designs, we've got everything to spread the joy. Introducing Eddie the Elf, dashing through the snow on his sled, perfect for adding that whimsical touch to your holiday wardrobe. Whether it's cozy sweatshirts or statement tees, find the perfect fit for everyone on your list. Ready to slay this season? Visit ZJZDesigns.com. ZJZ Designs, where style meets the holiday spirit.
The All About Nothing podcast may have language and content
that isn't appropriate for some.
Listener discretion is advised.
Welcome, Nothingers, to the All About Nothing podcast. I am Barrett Gruber. Please subscribe and share the show. That's how we get new listeners. Also, please consider supporting the show financially by visiting theallaboutnothing.com and becoming an official member and proudly calling yourself a true Nothinger. We'll have more details on that at the end of the show. If you can't do that, please give us a 5-star review, a like, and follow us across social media. You can find links at theallaboutnothing.com. Well, we're going to get started. Today on the All About Nothing podcast, we are joined by someone whose entire life has been defined by service to his country, to his community, and now potentially the people of South Carolina's House District 88. Colonel Joseph Chuck Hightower is a South Carolina native and a graduate of the South Carolina State University. He served 30 years in the U.S. Army Medical Corps, commanded medical units during Operation Iraqi Freedom, and helped lead disaster relief missions around the world. After retiring from the military, he continued serving right here at home through education, community programs, and advocacy for veterans and families in Lexington County. He is now running for the South Carolina State House as a Democrat with a focus on education, veterans, and responsible growth. Colonel Hightower, thank you very much for being on the show today.
Well, thank you, Barrett. I appreciate that.
I really appreciate it. And it is fantastic that you have given your time and effort to running for this special election. Short. And honestly, in my opinion, this is how long campaigns should last.
Yeah.
They shouldn't be a full year that you're trying to get elected. One of the worst parts about being in the South Carolina State House of Representatives is that you run, you get elected, you almost have to start campaigning immediately.
Yes.
I want to ask you, you had a long distinguishing career in the U.S. Army Medical Corps. What experiences from your service most influenced your decision to run for public office?
Well, as you well know, I like giving back. This great country has allowed me to be and to realize potentials I never thought possible. And that came by my raising my right hand and joining the military. And in the military, I learned a lot of things. And one of the things I learned more significantly was that the first thing you do as a leader is you listen, you learn, and then you lead. And as I watch the things and canvass the areas here in District 88, I'm not so sure if those elements are fully employed. So I'm ready to listen to the constituents of 88, learn from them, and lead them appropriately throughout not only the candidacy, but throughout being a representative for District 88.
Yeah. Growing up in South Carolina and attending South Carolina State University, what early experiences shaped your values and the type of leader that you want to be?
Well, I want to share a story with you. W.J. Keenan High School in the early 70s, late 60s, it became an integrated facility. And in that facility, I met a coach. His name was Coach Chetty, Ray Chetty. And Coach Ray Chetty, for some reason, saw an interest in this young fellow who was on his wrestling team. And I contemplated doing some things that were not consistent with what he felt I should be doing.
Okay.
For example, I often contemplated leaving school and working for my family to get them to broader horizons. But he pulled me to the side and he gave me some very sage instructions. And as he gave me those instructions, I realized then that there are people in this world that want to see people successful. And as of that, he gave me a roadmap on how to be successful. And I took courses in high school that allowed me to enter college. I took courses in high school that allowed me to get a full wrestling scholarship to South Carolina State University. And as such, I learned through South Carolina State, through their ROTC program, about leadership, commitment, dedication, and taking care of things that are essential to being a great American citizen. So as I take all of those things, growing up in South Carolina is a great place to live. And I have lived here in my early years, although I went away for 30 years while being in the military.
Yeah.
It did not take away the fact that South Carolina was my home. And my wife and I, we moved back here in 2006, where I became the executive director for our Warrior Transition Unit, serving soldiers and serving those individuals that want to transition back into the civilian sector. That too gave me an idea that giving back is extremely important. The knowledge that I gained from being in the military, being in the war fight, being in the Pentagon, doing all sorts of things that were complementary to that job, which will facilitate those soldiers transitioning to the civilian sector with much greater ease. And we had a commonality, which made it that much better, similar to the commonality I had with Coach Chetty. What a great guy. He's passed away now. But when I was in Iraq, I sent him a nice little postcard back saying, "Hey, Dad, I really enjoy being in the military, and thank you for sending that note when I got promoted to colonel. But I'm sending you a picture from Iraq with my little salutation on it." And that guy took that picture and hung it up. He owned a bar in Virginia.
Okay.
And this bar was one of the greatest bars in Virginia. He shared the write-up with me when I got back. And customers would come in and say, "Hey, that guy says you're a son." And he goes, "Yep, that's my son." And he shared that with me, and it was quite the inspiration that there are things in America that was displayed there that need to be a part of what we do each and every day. Not only learning about each other, but enjoying each other and understanding that that there's a great need for unity and understanding of people and differences.
Yeah. And ultimately, as you've been canvassing District 88, I assume that you're seeing a lot of the same as what I have when I have canvassed for Clinton and Harris and Bernie Sanders, and is that District 88 is not there are rural areas to it. There are areas that are very white or very black. I mean, but it's also becoming a much more diverse district. My street alone has everyone from, I have Vietnamese family lives across the street. Bernard across the street from me, we've lived across the street from each other for more than 20 years. He was one of my groomsmen in my first wedding. So
that's great.
But there, at any point, just walking through my neighborhood, you get the different smells, the international smells of people cooking. And I think that one of the biggest things for our district that would really be beneficial is if everyone just turned out to vote. That if they all turned, if we had a large crowd that turned out to vote, there's no way that it wouldn't be represented by someone that represents the entire area.
Yeah. I like to define myself as a person of multicultural ethnicity characteristics. So why is that? Having served in the military, I served with all religions. I've served with all ethnicities. I've served with senior folks, junior folks, young people, old people, senior leaders in the Pentagon. And I was given the opportunity to develop and grow and mentor and lead some of the greatest people in this world. So as I canvass and talk the folks in District 88, there's a similarity there. I know many, many years ago that was probably not the case. But I would say within the last 15 years, there has been tremendous growth in Lexington and all of those districts that comprise District 88 that reflect what America looked like and reflect all of the things that America displays to the world on what the world should look like. So I'm very proud of that. And not only am I very proud of that, I'm proud of my neighborhood, for example. My neighborhood have great people. They have been very supportive in this campaign, and they come from all backgrounds. And none of us have talked about differences that are negative. All of us have talked about differences that make us a better neighborhood, a better country, a better city, a better district. And this thing about divisiveness is just tremendously out of hand. And there has to be a unifier. And I feel that I have the skills, I have the leadership, I have the business acumen to be a unifier in a district that is yearning for it, and a district that is moving toward that more than most people have probably observed. For example, we have just surrounding my neighborhood, there are 1, 2, 3 additional neighborhoods since I moved here in 2006. And in those neighborhoods, they are concerned about the same things that I'm concerned about in my neighborhood. You know, security, property value, taxes, good schools. There's no difference when it comes to that. And they can be of any political reference, but we all have the same concerns and the same wants and some of the same likes. And that's one of the things I have observed in this neighborhood and in 88 as I walk around to homes, knocking on doors, indicating exactly what I stand for and the things that I want to see happen in Lexington, District 88. And hopefully we will be the sterling example of what state districts look like and how they operate each and every day. We have businesses here that are just phenomenal. The way they give back. I went to a community event about 2 weeks ago, and the businesses that were in this event was just phenomenal, giving back to the community. Turkeys, food, talking about insurance, talking about health, talking about schools, talking about things that are very vital to the very makeup of what we want to be and how we want to do business in a neighborhood where quality of life means so much. And it was very refreshing to see that.
When I first moved to where I live now, I moved there in 2002. I built my house in 2001, moved in 2002. When I moved here, this district was one of the cheapest places to live. And now it has steadily grown as similar to a lot of other districts. It has grown to be one of the most expensive. I look at the data and the numbers, and a lot of what we're running into is the fact that while we see new construction going on all the time, this isn't affordable construction. I know that it's not one of the talking points on your webpage, but affordability in this district is continuing to, and it's similar to a lot of districts around the state. In conversations that you've had, is affordability something that's come up with any of the people that you've canvassed?
Absolutely. And I I applaud them for sharing it with me. There are businesses that are concerned not only about affordability, but their taxes, insurance for their employees, because they're concerned about their employees. They want their employees to have a great quality of life, and they need employees in order to be a successful and sustaining business. So how do you deal with that? How do you work with that? I think one of the primary things you need to keep in mind is that a lot of rules and regulations are set by folks that are politicians.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when it's very important to sit in a room and in a unified effort, determine how you're going to affect in a very positive way insurances and taxes and health insurance and responsible growth in your respective, well, I'll just use District 88. What is responsible growth? Well, responsible growth is having a leader that doesn't mind talking to those that's imploding the growth, to sit down with the business leaders in the community to ensure that we're not impeding and destroying those businesses that have, some of them have years and years of being in District 88 and being in Lexington. And to eradicate that it's just criminal. And it takes a person that doesn't mind meeting those challenges head on. I will meet those challenges head on. But I think the best way to meet those challenges head on is to sit down with those business leaders and talk to them about what is it that causes you the greatest amount of pain when it comes to operating your business. And I'm sure it ranges from providing health insurance to providing salaries to providing, infrastructure issues, being somewhat allowing external facilities to come in and crowd out or do those things that does not allow them to participate in their business practices as they had before. And that's the whole idea of pulling everyone together and talking about this and working this issue out. And I'm sure there are forums for that, but they need to be public forums.
Yeah.
For example, down Platte Springs, when that particular section was being renovated, sure, there were a lot of homeless folks living in those woods, but okay, that's displacement of the homeless. So how do you displace those individuals properly? And oh, by the way, how do you properly allow yourself to feed into the local residents what's taking place? And not only what's taking place, how it's going to impact them, and specifically the businesses. Because no one started a business for that business to be there temporarily.
Right.
Those businesses are there for a while because that's how they maintain their quality of life. That's how they take care of their families. That's how they provide food on the table. And that is the way they have decided that they're going to operate in order to be a good, effective family member or community leader. So, yes.
I think one of the best or the greatest impacts that the state government can have on local businesses, especially in District 88, is the infrastructure. Mm-hmm. Because if there are good roads to get to places, right. If there is, if it's restaurants and things like that, you want parking, you want the ability for customers to walk across the street safely. Yeah. West Columbia, 10 miles, his administration has done an absolute fantastic job working with the DOT to make sure that at least in the proper West Columbia, it's safe. And they're doing a beautification project there on Highway 1 that's, I think that ultimately them succeeding is going to do a lot for District 88, but as well as the districts adjacent to us.
Yeah.
I wanted, go ahead, sorry.
Yeah, I know 10 miles very well. Mayor Tim Miles, very well. And they have come and talked to as a matter of fact, he's coming to talk to our Rotary Club on Tuesday of this week. The city commissioner was there about 3 weeks ago and talked about those innovative and renovative ideas that were being executed there in West Columbia. I mean, what a fantastic thing. One of the things that I think we need to marvel at and sometimes emulate is you have places like Greenville and even in Charleston where they have had tremendous growth. I don't know all the details behind what they've done, but I do know that there are folks that say, wow, those guys are doing great.
Yeah.
And there's no reason why we shouldn't be doing the same thing in a very responsible way to the citizens that live in those respective areas, such as District 88.
Yeah. Between Casey and Pine Ridge and,
yes.
and Springdale, I mean, these are areas that are prime. The DOT has done what they need to do to make sure that the roads are good, and now it's up to making sure that those communities have the earmarks and the money available from the state to actually start doing some of that. District, I want to say the Lexington School District 2 has this giant new facility. It's either open or it's about to open, but just all dedicated to the arts for high school and middle school and such. So there is a clear sign that the state does want to invest, because you don't get much closer to downtown Columbia than being here and still having that separation between us. So I wanted to go back to veterans, because I think that is one of the most that is one gap that South Carolina, despite the number of veterans that live in South Carolina, we still have such a huge gap when it comes to taking care of veterans, as far as homelessness, mental facilities for mental care, just basic needs. I know that that's something that you have worked on a lot in the past as a state house representative. Where do you see where you can potentially try and work with everyone else in the state house to fill those gaps?
Well, I think as a senior military officer who has had the experience of face-to-face and walking the same ground as the soldiers that are in the VA system. When I retired from the military, I was the executive director for what they call the Warrior Transition Unit. And it was that whereby we look at their clinical aspects, we look at their physical aspects, we look at their mental health aspects, and we also look at their housing aspect and how they were gelling back into civilian life, so we could transition them to a superior quality of life, or at least as close to that as we possibly could. So doing VA, don't take anything away from them. They have a huge challenge. And there are federal regulations that have impeded some of their ability to do the things that they themselves need to do. But it takes too long for a young soldier or an old soldier to be dismissed from the Army to get their disability ratings. I am very, very adamant about working that extremely hard. The other thing that's working that I would want to work very hard with the veterans is mental health. It used to be an old term of 22 a day. It's a shame that we have to have statistics that say 22 of the greatest people in this country that provide us the opportunity to do the things that are unlike any other country. Access to things that other countries would just fall over themselves to have. And these great Americans have gone out and sacrificed just everything Some, as that old adage say, has sacrificed their lives. And I saw that firsthand. Being a soldier that's been in combat for a few deployments, I saw that. And I saw and felt what these soldiers felt when they returned. And we need to allow ourselves and be very persistent and intentional about it to ensure that those individuals not only return to their families in the greatest of repair for a great quality of living, but also the families. There are residual effects to a soldier that deploy and a soldier that's in combat. And we need to look at it from a 360 degree perspective. And that's one of the major issues when it comes to veterans that I will seek out, and I will challenge anyone when it comes to the quality of life and the welfare of our great American soldiers.
Your retirement, it feels like it went better than most retirements. How? Because I have cousins that have graduated. They retired from National Guard to find a VA system that is so locked into like what you described, which is the regulations, the fact that they don't have computer systems that are up to date, things like that. And it's not really one of the things that I think that the state of South Carolina can do to impact the VA system, because that's a federal program. But when we talk about the transitioning from active duty to retired, you didn't just leave the military, you continued to work for the military. That's not always available.
That is not always available. I was quite fortunate in that. And actually, I count my blessings each and every day. But I do not forget that not everyone have that same option. And for those that do not have that option, those that are suffering from mental health or PTSD because of the rigors of combat, those are the ones we need to reach out and touch. And not only do we need to reach out and touch, we need to give them a pathway to understanding that we can help you. And not only that we can help you, but we can provide you with facilities, and we can provide you with healthcare providers. We can provide you with an ease of getting housing. And that is a very, very tough road to haul. And I spent 30 years in the military. I'm a retired colonel. I understand challenges, and challenges does not bother me whatsoever. And I think and I know when a person goes to the poll and they cast that vote, they're expecting that kind of demeanor, the kind of demeanor that says, I'm going to stand up for what is right for the constituents and the citizens of District 88, but also those of South Carolina. And I'm ready for all of those challenges.
So you have not aligned yourself with any specific groups within the Democratic Party or the Republican Party. Your opponent has been endorsed by the Freedom Caucus, which, if I'm going to be honest, makes me uncomfortable. As quickly as his candidacy began after the runoff, to see that is something is attached to. And the Freedom Caucus, while I've seen them vote the right way on things, it's not always because they're voting for it in favor of it. They're voting for it against the other Republicans. How does that sort of situation, seeing that the Republicans are willing to eat themselves, to tear themselves apart, how do you potentially approach voters when you're caucusing or you're canvassing? Does any of that sort of thing come up when you talk to them?
Yes, it does. But one of the things when I talk to the voters, what I try to apply to that scenario is you have a right, voter. And your right is to discern what you feel is the right thing and the wrong thing, not only about politics, but how you should be governed. And one of the things that I think that we miss out on sometimes is the power of local government, your state representative, your state senator, your state councilman, your state mayors. It is extremely important that you make sure that those choices are ones that will not only enhance your quality of life, but also present to the general public those things that are necessary in order for us to live a life that is worth living.
Yeah.
And so how do you do that? Well, part of it is you got to walk across the aisle, because not everyone agree on everything absolutely. So you walk across the aisle and you say, hey, let's talk about this. And sometimes the talking helps, sometimes it doesn't. But that's where intentional pursuit takes place. You must be intentional about what you believe is the right thing to promote. I'm not particularly interested in any special groups. What I'm interested in is the constituents and how they feel and how they think and what they feel is the right thing for them and the businessmen in this community. When you think about the things that they have to deal with each and every day and what that entails, that's why you are elected in the first place.
Yeah.
And so you go back to them and you say, hey, here is something that they're proposing on the floor. And you say to yourself, well, that sounds good. That's a great soundbite. But how are you going to do that? Well, one of the things that I propose to do is I will have frequent town halls. And it's not a Democratic town hall. It's not a Republican town hall. It's a town hall to present the facts so that folks will be well informed, so that they can make a very well informed, discerning decision for me to take back to say, hey, the constituents in 88 believe this. And you have to have a firm fist about that. And those are some of the challenges, I think, that are going to be extremely, they're not going to be difficult for me. And the reason they're not going to be difficult is because, as I indicated earlier, I was deployed with over 6,500 soldiers. And to place them in the right place, to make sure their objectives were appropriately aligned with the strategic aspect of what we're doing on the battlefield takes a lot of coordination with a lot of people.
Yeah.
So I know how to pull people together. I know how to discern input, and I know how to take critical analysis and critical criticism, because that is the important aspect of a great decision when it comes to taking care of the people in your respective section in the state.
Yeah. Teacher pay and retention in South Carolina, especially here in District 88, is one that is falling behind. Statewide, we're seeing gaps because of things like the money that could potentially be set aside for teacher raises is going to a lot of these charter schools and private schools. The voucher program is causing harm that, while I grew up in Atlanta, I grew up in a situation where we had what was called the M2M program, which was, I'm going to say it backwards or I'm going to say it wrong, but it was minority to majority.
Yeah.
And a lot of some of the best friends that I made when I was in school didn't live in my neighborhoods. They were brought into our schools, or they were brought out of the Black communities and into what was a more suburb sort of situation. But here in South Carolina, it doesn't seem like that's really a focus to move students from potentially districts that aren't failing publicly into programs that are doing better. It seems like we're just looking to throw the money to the private charter schools and things like that. Yeah. What's your feeling on that?
First thing I'll say is My kids were in private school. It was a choice my wife and I made for their education. But private school, to us, doesn't mean that it should impede the ability of the public school system to educate those that are subjected to a public education. That funding should stay there because they themselves want to realize potentials they never thought possible. Because some of those families are wrestling with the difference between a carton of milk or buying that young kid a pair of sneakers to go to school. So when you begin to think about that so-called division of schools, it's not so much about the division of schools. It's about taking away from those individuals that does not have the monetary support or the support to do the things that some folks are expecting that takes place in private schools. So I would say the single most important aspect that we all must realize is that I've always felt that America has a great way of facilitating the American dream, if you will. But don't take that away from public school kids. I'm a public school kid.
Yeah.
And
Same.
And I went to W.J. Keenan when we first integrated. And there were a lot of things we had to learn. I'd never gone to school with anything other than folks that looked like me. And we had different interpretations of what that would be like. But you make the best of the things that are put in front of you. You look for the greatest good. And so often we don't look for the greatest good from a big perspective. We look for the greatest good from my perspective.
Right.
And that is, in my opinion, one of the worst things you can have. I would love and I will fight and I will be very, very adamant about our young kids having the same opportunity in public schools as the so-called private schools. And I would tell you, the majority of the great Americans that are out there, they come out of public schools, out of public schools.
I dated several girls in private schools.
Yeah.
So I don't have any issue with private schools and charter schools.
Neither do I.
I think that the issues that I have is for every student, there is a monetary value assigned to that student.
That's right.
And I don't think that is because that student may leave the public school system and then go to a private school. Mm-hmm. There is this accountant somewhere going, oh, well, that's another $6,000 we get to take away from that school or whatever the value is.
Well, I would tell you this. I put my kids in private school it was only for 2 years because of a certain situation. But I will tell you this, that I am very much in agreement that we should not impede any facet of our governmental funding to impede the ability of a public school student reaching their maximum potential. We have rural schools that do not have internet.
Yeah.
And, when my kids went to private school, I paid for that. I didn't look for funding from anywhere else because that was a choice. So you need to look at it as a choice and not as a supplement to get you there.
Universal 4K availability in South Carolina is not universal.
Yeah.
Do you support having a 4K program available for students to have an early start that would be publicly funded?
I have read a lot of studies on kids that get a jump start in kindergarten, and those kids indeed have a jump start.
Yeah.
And I'm a full believer that we should start our kids as early as possible. And that funding should not come out of the pockets of our citizens, not directly anyway. So how do you do that? Well, I don't really know how to do that right now, but I do believe that there is something that we can do in order to guarantee those. You know, we build jail systems based on what we think the discipline rate is going to be on kids in middle school. That's a crime.
Yeah.
We should be building our budget on kids that are in middle school and how we're going to enhance their life, and not how we're going to put them behind bars so that they will never realize the American dream.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of discontent with that, and I'm one of them. I think there should be a much stronger approach to early development of our young kids. My dad told me once, he said, one of the worst things and one of the worst crimes that you can have in your family is illiteracy. And I agree with that.
Yeah.
My parents, they weren't college grads, but they had a PhD in what they felt was the greatest pathway to opportunities and being great American citizens that give back to other citizens, so they too themselves will be persons that have realized potentials they never thought possible.
There is a lot of value in civic duty, or going to work for potentially the police, or going into the military service, that sort of thing. I've always believed that that's something that should be available here in the United States. You want to go to college, but you can't afford to go to college. Well, then here's a program that you could potentially go in and be a firefighter for 4 years.
Yeah.
And then after 4 years, your college is paid for.
Yeah.
One of the things I think that District 88 has at Midlands Tech is a fantastic opportunity
Absolutely.
for students that don't necessarily see themselves as university people, or that because they just have the unlimited funds to be able to go to university. In South Carolina, is our community colleges and technical colleges, is this something that you see a lot of value in?
Oh, absolutely. I'm a do a historical sort of lesson here. I had the opportunity to meet a guy in Iraq. His name was Senator Hollins. And Senator Hollins was one of the individuals that were on the forefront of technical colleges. And those colleges have been, I have a friend of mine who just completed several courses at Midlands Tech. She took a course in phlebotomy. She took a course in nurse case management. She took a course in medical stenography. I'm not sure what it was, but she took these courses. She didn't go to college, but when she took these courses, it provided her with the opportunity to do some of the things that will allow her to live in a great community, to not have to depend on government subsidies to get her from point A to point B. And I'm going to do a shout out for Lexington too right now in their innovation center. In that innovation center, even in high school, kids have the opportunity to go be a plumber, an electrician, IT, fireman, auto mechanics. All of that is housed in a building called the Innovation Center that's located in Casey.
Yeah.
That is phenomenal because not everyone is going to go to a university or a college of their choice. That may not be one of the things that is most suitable for them. I myself in high school, I went to Booker T. Washington twice a week to learn brick masonry because before Coach Chetty, my aspirations were to become a brick mason.
Yeah.
And it gave me an opportunity to have a better life. And where did I get that? I got that from the South Carolina public schools. And what a phenomenal thing. And we have things here that are just absolutely great for growth and development of our young people. We just need to get them to understand it, and we need to get them to those avenues of learning.
Yeah. South Carolina has a Republican supermajority currently.
Mm-hmm.
What sort of strategy do you have from your experience, both in the military, working in medicine, and operations like that, being a wrestler? Is how do you see all of those experiences going to work with to sort of break down that supermajority wall, to have them recognize that District 88, District 87, these districts that have not really seen good representation?
Mm-hmm.
How do you see, what sort of strategy do you have to have them recognize just how important the gateway to Columbia is? Yeah,
and I think it starts with that word we used earlier. It's called unifying. And there's some great Republican ideas out there. There's some great Democratic ideas out there. There's some great citizen ideas out there. And there are great ideas outside of the borders of South Carolina. So you ask yourself the question, how do you employ all of that to ascertain what is a better place to live? Just because you have a difference of opinion, it doesn't necessarily mean that that difference is going to be a detriment. You just have a difference of an opinion. So you ask the question, how do I confront that? And I don't know if I want to say very simply, but in a very diplomatic, treat people with dignity and respect kind of way, is walk across the aisle and talk about it. And not only talk about it, make sure there's a full understanding of why certain things are important and why certain things and how they impact people that will be the recipients of that decision. And one of the things you need to understand, so who do you bring into the room? Not just the politicians. You bring into the room a forum where there's 5 business guys there, and they're talking about a certain thing that's impacting their business. We need to hear that.
Yeah.
We need to listen to that. And what the military has taught me, I have briefed, talked, convinced people in the highest levels of government on things that we should or should not do when it comes to the practice of medical practicability on the battlefield or training within the United States. We had a super $1 billion budget where we had to prioritize the things that will make us the most effective. And that principle can be applied to this. What are those things? What are those elements? And what are those strategies we're going to use in order to get from point A to point B? And are you going to have folks that's going to try to impede it because they have an agenda? Yeah. But I think I'm strong enough. I am willing to listen to it, but I'm not always willing to concede to something that is presenting itself as an inhibitor to good law and order, to good medical practices, to good education practices, to good social practices, to good practices, period, when it comes to the citizens of the United States and the citizens of South Carolina and the citizens of District 88. I've been in places whereby when there's no amplification of learning and no amplification of understanding, it end up being deplorable.
Mm-hmm.
And not only is it deplorable, it hurt people.
Yeah.
And that's not why we're in this business.
Yeah.
We're in this business to make life and quality of life better for people. And until you understand that, you probably don't need to be in office.
I think that's one of the things that I have always wanted to see in the representation, and I think for the most part, everyone that gets into politics, for the most part, gets in because they want to be that positive change.
Right.
But what I always remind people, whether it's state, city, local, or federal, the thing that they are there to do is to serve us as our representation.
That's right.
So, well, listen, I know I don't want to cut it too short, but I do want to ask you just a few questions, sort of that are more generic,
All right.
potentially, just see if it lets people know the type of person
All right.
you are. Is there a book that has shaped your view of leadership?
I read all John C. Maxwell books.
Oh, those are good. Oh, that's good. That's
I
good.
read every last one of them. I go out and I do leadership talks, not only to senior Army officers, but one of the things, my wife get on me about this sometimes, but I would purchase those books and hand them out as gifts to those individuals that are there, because I think it's essential that it's okay to read about leadership, but executing the aspects of leadership is a much greater thing.
Sweet tea or unsweetened tea?
That's a great question. I am an unsweetened kind of guy.
I'm with you. I would rather it taste like tea than taste like sugar.
Oh,
so,
yes, that's correct.
I'm with you, and I realize the potential is that may offend somebody, but I've been doing this for 9 years now. I don't hold back on offending people anymore. What's one of your favorite places in South Carolina to relax?
Well, folks know I'm pretty much a family guy. One of the greatest places to relax is at home, most of the time with my grandkids, having fun with them. And, my granddaughter, that's my little bud. She'll be graduating from White Knoll this year. Very proud of that young lady. And I have my other grandkids moved to Oklahoma, but that's okay. They come back every major holiday. They'll be back in Christmas. But I spend a lot of time. Another thing that I do to help with the peace of my mind and soul is I'm the director of a GED program, and Scooter Scott GED program. That is probably one of the most thrilling things. I've been there with them for about 11 years now. To watch a person come into that program feeling so neglected and so despondent about where they are. And our great volunteers and mentors and tutors in the program, I love every last one of them. And we get that individual to a point where they pass all 4 exams. There's nothing more exhilarating and nothing more comforting and nothing more just absolutely wonderful to see than to hand them their diploma to say, you're a GED graduate, go out there and do great things.
In your 11 years, how many graduates have you?
We've graduated. Yeah, we've graduated over 600. At least that's what our records show. We didn't maintain records in the beginning. Could be more. And then some, we have started the program with them, but they may have ended the program elsewhere.
Sure.
And we allow those individuals that go elsewhere, the program is totally free. We don't put
That's amazing.
we don't put any stress or strain on them other than they're utilizing their brain to pass the 4 subjects. Everything is, we even give snacks during each session. Yeah.
Well, the last one I'll ask is, what is one meal that you could eat every day for the rest of your life?
Oh, my goodness.
Without getting tired of it.
Yeah. This is a joke. My kids indicated one time that my wife and I fed them spaghetti for an entire month every day. So to appease them, it would have to be spaghetti. Okay, there you go.
Well, Colonel Hightower, I want to thank you very much for coming on the show with us and being able to talk about your road and your path and where you've been, where you came from. I think it's important to understand exactly where that is with our candidates, and I absolutely believe that for me, you are exactly what I want to see in a representative for our district.
Thank you very much.
Anything else you want to talk about before we?
I want to say one last thing, and I didn't say it in the beginning, and I want folks to understand this very clearly. I learned the 3 L's when I was in the military. You listen, you learn from your listening, and then you lead appropriately. But I also learned something else, and that is that this job doesn't belong to me. This seat is not my seat. This seat is all of the individuals, regardless of party affiliation, regardless of ethnicity, regardless of who you may think you are. And I represent you, and I work for you. And if you don't, and if you want to get an understanding of that, you get out there 8 through 19 December and you vote. And the 23rd of December is the primary day. You vote. And a very famous guy one time said something to this effect is, don't get upset with what you get if you didn't vote. And I'm asking you to go out there and vote. I'm ready to work, and I hope and pray that you understand that my work is beneficial to each and every last one of the citizens of District 88. And Barrett, thank you so very much.
Yeah.
This has been great.
Absolutely.
And I wish this show as well much success.
Well, we'll, I've got your number, so when you get elected, there'll be plenty. No, I'm kidding. I would never do that. Well, listeners, whether you agree or not, your lifelong commitment to service, Army Medical Corps, local classrooms, community programs is something I think that everyone can show some sort of appreciation for. For anyone who wants to learn more, volunteer, or read about Colonel's platform, please visit hightowerforhouse.com. Colonel, again, we really appreciate your time. We wish you the very best with the campaign, and obviously, absolutely, I will do everything that I can to make sure that that it happens.
All right.
We'll bill your campaign for the time. No, I'm kidding. So, but again, thank you very much.
Well, thank you. And for all you District 88 folks, we'll be knocking on your door soon.
Excellent.
There you
Excellent.
Go. All right.
Again, thank you very much, Colonel, for being on. Links to all of our past episodes, podcast platforms, merchandise, and social media are available at our webpage, theallaboutnothing.com. And if you think our financial model of giving away free content and entertainment is silly and you're in the giving mood, why not become an official Nothinger and support the show? Members get early access to this episode as well as exclusive content. You can visit members.theallaboutnothing.com, or you can find a link on our webpage. You can also give a one-time donation through the same link. If you'd like to be a part of the show, you can call and leave us a message, 803-672-0533, or email the show at theallaboutnothing.com. You can join our Discord server, links found there. Thank you very much for everyone listening. Everyone, you all stay safe. Please be kind and keep your hands to yourself.
The All About Nothing podcast is a product of Big Media and produced and engineered by me, Barrett Gruber. Thanks to Cake for our intro music, Sick of You. You can follow Everything Cake, the band, at cakemusic.com. Thanks to Muff, the producer, for our outro music. You can follow Muff on Instagram at Muff the Producer. You can follow me across social media by visiting Linktree/Barrett Gruber. And you can follow Zach King on Linktree/AAN Zach. Want to support the show? Visit our webpage, theallaboutnothing.com, and become a member. There are several tiers available that give you early access to episodes as well as exclusive content. To find links to our social media, podcast platforms, and merchandise to support the show, as well as past episodes, visit theallaboutnothing.com. If you'd like to be a part of the show, you can email the show at theallaboutnothing.com, or you can call our number and leave a message. Dial 803-672-0533. If the time between these episodes is more than you can handle, check out our sister shows. What the Pod Was That with Carrie, Zach, and myself. Welcome to Wonderland with Ami. Politically Speaking with Erica, Kirsten, and Emily. And Black, White, and Blue in the South with Dr. Jameel Brooks and Bill Kimmler. Please subscribe and share this show. If you're on YouTube, please subscribe and punch that notification bell. Thank you for listening, and hear us next week. The preceding podcast is a product of Big Media and copyright 2025, all rights reserved.